y'all. Welcome back to another episode of More Than a Title, episode 267. I swear when that theme song, I'll be like, oh, it's like that's my superhero music. I'll be nervous as hell. But y'all already know, man. Welcome back to More Than a Title. You know what it is. It's your favorite podcast back on your favorite day. And I got a special guest here today. This is our Black History Month celebration. First of all, shout out to everybody. Happy Black History Month to our community. And this is really just to shine a light on people like this young lady right here who's actually putting in the work, that's showing up, that's bringing the ladder down, right? That's being a shining example in the community. And that's what we highlight here. We give our own flowers. So before we begin and give this queen the introduction that she deserves, y'all know what it is. I'm going to give y'all a quote for the folk, man. It kind of leads into what we're talking about today. So leadership, as you know, isn't defined by titles. It's about the impact, integrity, and what still stands when you're not in the room. So especially when you get to these levels of leadership, right? People watch. You never understand how many people watch, how many eyes are on you, and what kind of example you have to be, and what kind of pressure that is. You know what I mean? You know, you got, especially leading corporate organizations, Fortune 500 brands, Fortune 1000, right? There's only so many of us that are from our community that hold those roles. So the way you have to carry yourself, the things that you have to eat, the things you have to do to progress your career, and we're going to celebrate that. So it's not the title; it's about the impact. You could be the CEO of the company, but if you're an asshole. And it doesn't matter. And that's going to be your legacy. And that's not what we celebrate here. So with that being said, let's give this queen the introduction she deserves. Let's start the show. Before I'm going to give you that. Yes, ma'am. I'm going to tell you the truth, Joy. I wanted to meet you the first year in Black Week.
Oh, really? Like 2 years ago? Yeah.
2 years. So we were the podcast for Black Week.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So I had a list of people I wanted to reach, and you were one.
I was in and out though. Like I was there, did my thing, and then I was there for one day because it's a week, but my time would only let me be there for one day. It was amazing. I remember I was crying afterwards in the car going to the airport, and I was talking to a friend of mine, and she was like, "Why are you crying?" I'm like, first of all, it was like a celebration of beautiful Black excellence in media, advertising, and communication. But I've been in this business for so long that it was also like a reunion. It was like a homecoming. It was like a family reunion. From the moment I walked in, I saw someone that I worked with when I was 24 in the industry. We were both babies. And then the whole day I was there, just like fellowshipping with people that I hadn't seen in like a decade. And I was like, this is the strength that they're afraid of. Like, this is just when you see all of us in this room who have grown up in this business and are doing amazing things, having our own companies, running our own media companies, having our own brands, being in corporate, some of us representing some of the biggest brands or some of the most new brands that are going to make huge change and impact. It was like I left feeling full. Like Black Week for me was like, and I think I wrote Walter a note, was like, I feel like more than like the connections, because I know that's a big part of it, is particularly for the people coming into the industry. For those of us who are kind of veterans in the industry, I felt with my cup full. Like I felt over, and I've gone to so many different types of events that purport to be that, right, for us. And this was the only one where this was one of the first times that I felt that no one was asking me to do X, Y, and Z or pay for X, Y, and Z, or can I sponsor X, Y, and Z. It was just it's like a family reunion. It was good to see people, hug them, be poured into and poured back into them. Because sometimes at this level, you still need that. You still need to feel poured into, seen, et cetera. A big old hug from someone you've known for 30 years in the industry, where you were both grinding, eating the conference room sandwiches for lunch. Like, it was really great to see us all in the same place, on the same accord. I'm so happy that you brought it up because I loved that experience. It was great.
Shout out to Joe, shout out to Walt, Mo, shout out to the entire team of Dog, shout out to my boys, man. I love you guys, man. So I was honored to be the first podcast to be there. So when we first of all started from the party.
Wow.
So we party the night before. We went in there suited and booted. It was so cool. We met so many people, like Rohan Marley. Like we met Rohan Marley there. We was the only podcast in the world that able to go to his house and record it in his house.
How great is that they trusted you, right? With that.
That's the relationship. It comes with time. I've known Walt for about 4 or 5 years. So when I was on my LinkedIn journey, he was one of the only Black people that I saw on my feed that was looking like me, talking like me.
And saying it, right? Yeah. Like he's fearless in the way that he defends us and the way that he defends what's right. And I think he's unapologetic, which you have to be at this stage. Like, what do we, at this point in our career, like, obviously we are walking a fine rope because we want to balance. And to your point, I love the phrase you said, like bringing the ladder down for others to climb up. But sometimes you have to just call it out. And I love Walt for doing that. Like, he will call it out.
It's a balance. I'm gonna give you, but we're gonna talk about that because the balance of that, right? You still in the corporate America, you still want to say the things and speak out for our community, but I know it has a backlash even if we don't see it.
Yeah, it totally has you feel it. You feel it.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. So anybody's doing, especially Walt, man, I commend you and for them creating a space. And let me give you the intro because people are like, oh damn, she going off. What is she doing? You know what I mean? So first of all, y'all, welcome back to More Than the Title for all my MTAP people. Shout out to everybody on LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram. I love you guys, man. It's been a real month so far. And I'm just humbled by all the outreach and the support I get from you guys. I really love y'all. Y'all keep a brother going. For first time people, this is a raw, rugged show where we keep it real and celebrate our own. We don't just ask the cookie cutter questions. I want to know the real, because the whole point of this is to give the information back to the community, learn what our people have to go through to be successful so we can be successful. This queen embodies that. Seasoned executive, over 2 decades of experience, driving brand innovation, growth, transformation across some of the most competitive industries out there. Currently the president of Vella Bioscience, where she's leading a pioneer FemTech company into its next phase of scientific, retail, and category-defining growth. Before that, served at the global CMO at Saucony, chief revenue officer at Havas Media Network, North America, one of the biggest agencies in the world and holding companies, held executive roles at Kindbody and EHE Health. She's consistently sitting at the intersection of consumer insight, technology, and impact. And in her earlier days, worked with companies like Ogilvy, Gray, Publicis, worked with companies such as L'Oreal, Verizon, Colgate-Palmolive, and even helping Condé Nast navigate its digital evolution. You guys have seen her at Black Week. You guys have seen her at the conferences. You guys have seen her in the boardrooms. And now she's on your favorite podcast for the very first time. Let's introduce our sis, Miss Joy Allen-Altimare, y'all. Yeah. Thank you. You hear it back, you're like, damn.
I'm like, wow, that's a lot of stuff over almost 3 decades now, right? You forget. I need to remind myself. That was great. Thank you.
Yes, you deserved it. You worked hard for it, Queen. It's a pleasure for you, it's an honor for us to have you here, celebrate you, and let's take it from the beginning. I like to start to get to the mindset. So you was talking about it earlier, but tell us a little bit about growing up and some of your early influences.
Yeah. I mean, so listen, my father is from Jamaica. He's an immigrant. I grew up in a really small town in the South, Chattanooga, Tennessee. And I always talk about it because I had a very normal life, right? I have a lot of friends who are like, no, I had to struggle and struggle and struggle. And I think everyone has to struggle in a different way, but I don't want to purport that I was this very, very downtrodden kid. I was an only child. I had great parents, great church community, but I was the only Black kid in an all-white school. I was one of 3 Black students in an all-girls white school in the South. And that in itself, kind of what we were talking about, I feel was a great education to help me feel when things were coming, what was under the surface. And luckily, I had a great father. We talked about it a little before we started. My dad, he's one of 13. He only had one. He poured so much into me. He both spiritually, biblically, practically, he was just always telling me, picking me up from school, telling me you can be whatever you want to be. You can be the greatest. You don't have to be defined by your race or your gender. He was very one of the early influencers of just giving me what we call my hype man. He was the first hype man, and taught me what love should feel like from a man, which I think is important as a Black female corporate person or a Black female in general. You need to know as you navigate and you get, like you said, that shine at different times, if it's true or if it's not, if it's advantageous for the other person or if it's sincere. So my dad, I always credit him. That's why, I told you too, we had some recent trauma. And so my dad has moved in with us, and it's great to see him interact with my 11-year-old daughter and doing some of those things that he did for me early on. But corporately, I think, some of the earliest influencers I had really came from the women who showed me through different forms of power, what leadership should really look like. Early in my career, I don't know if you remember her, she's a pioneer, but I had the privilege of working for Carol H. Williams. who is not only a trailblazer in advertising, but she was like a true mentor. So Carol H. Williams has an agency in Oakland, but before that, she was the first African-American female creative director at any major organization. She worked at Leo Burnett. She created the Pillsbury Doughboy. Like she's an icon. And like, she is a great example of like, you don't know her name, but you know her work, right? And she taught me, like, I went to work for her after working at these big agencies, and I went to work for her, very small agency. And I was very lucky and blessed because she put me in rooms that I normally wouldn't be at as like a 23-year-old, 24-year-old. I always said before her, I worked at big agencies, both as an intern and as an employee. And that was like the academia of advertising. Yeah. And then I went to go work for her, and that was like boot camp. That was like, you're at war. Right. And so she taught me that leadership is really not about permission. It's about conviction, that you can, you can be culturally fluent.
That was a bar.
You can be culturally fluent, you can be commercially sharp and still lead with integrity. You know, she showed me in rooms where we talked about this a little bit, but I was in rooms with her with clients who basically tried to punk her, and with grace, with integrity, she showed me like how to be excellent in that moment, right? How to not let it get to you, how to still, like, when they try to show, she always used to say, when they show you who they are the first time, believe them. And then you navigate around it. Don't be defeated by it. So I loved working for her because she showed me what it means to build something that lasts and how to do that with excellence. And
that's
then
so hard though, sis, ain't it? Like, so how did you, you know, that was a great example. I'm glad you said that. How did you help embody that into your own leadership style? Because it's hard not to just be like, oh.
Yeah. I mean, I think you don't know it until you get older, right? So I worked for her in my early 20s. And then over time, I didn't even realize what I was learning when I was with her, right? I just was like absorbing and feeling like, you know, I'm an East Coaster. So when I went to go work for her, I had no family out there. And so she also was like a nurturer. She would, you know, be like, come over to the house, have dinner. Because she knew I was there by myself. And that's where the gems would drop, right? That's where the stories were being told. And I think I apply that to my life today because I have that example. I have those memories. We weren't there in the 70s and the 80s when it was really, really none of us in this industry. You had people, you know, I had the privilege of working for Mr. Lewis, Byron Lewis at Uniworld, and he would tell these amazing stories about how he built it and how the opposition came. And then also how you have to be a little strategically creative sometimes in a way that is not going to be taught in school, not going to be taught in the books. You have to be, you know, that little bit of street culture hustle mindset is really important for us to always have and flex it when it's necessary. And I think today I see that with investors when I'm negotiating with them. You know, I don't have a finance background, and I use that as a way to disarm them. Like, they think I don't know, but I know, right? Yeah. And I think that's how you have to, you know, there's moments when you need to flex and be bold and be loud. And there's moments that I've learned from both Mr. Lewis and from Carol that you can be listening. You can just listen and wait for the moments and then come in and, I don't want to use the word attack, but conquer because it's unexpected. And I think that is, I get asked a lot, like, how do you play this corporate game? And I'm like, you have to be true to yourself, honestly, and listen, because there's always, people will tell you who they are and what they're about. And that's chess. Once you know who they are, then you know what to do.
Yeah, but it's so hard in corporate America. Everybody's playing the damn game. I hate the game. I just want to be me. I just want to come do a good job, let the work speak for itself. And that's not necessarily the case. So I'm curious, like, what's one of the biggest lessons you've learned in corporate America? Or what's one time like you've had to kind of flex and kind of be like, I belong here?
Yeah. I mean, I'll start with just saying, like, we all love Oprah, and probably like 5 years ago, she was doing this tour, and she was talking about, like, you can either say it's day one or one day. If you remember that phrase, like, it's like a principle of like, I'm going to do it today, or I'm going to wait for the right time. And like, we have to make the right time. We come into this industry with people who have generational knowledge because their grandfather created X or their dad was this. And it's not like we come in with that roadmap. We are basically walking into most industries as people of color with no one before us who can tell us like what to do. And so I think my point of view has always been like, I have a day one mindset. I'm not going to wait for the next day. I'm going to grab every opportunity. I'm going to be ready for when it comes, because I think that's part of preparation is part of success. If you're not ready when it comes, then you're going to miss opportunity. And I think one of the biggest challenges I've had most recently was really making sure that, there's real tension between that point of view and other leaders, right? There's some leaders that'll be like, we just want short-term performance versus long-term brand building, or efficiency is not as important as like the emotion that we're trying to, like, all of these things are important, but if you have to have a plan that ladders up to getting to the end result, which is driving greater revenue for my job, right?
Yeah.
So, I think when I took a role previously, I walked in as the only Black person on leadership, as the only female on leadership. And my point of view was fundamentally like, I want to do what's right for the brand, because that will ultimately drive customer sentiment, loyalty, and long-term sales growth. I don't want to do some crazy flex here that has no legs to what we're trying to build just for like a hype moment for an individual or for a particular part of the brand. I'm thinking long-term. And I had honestly a lot of pushback because I was new to the category. And so you would hear people say, well, you don't really know. It's not like beauty. It's not like personal care. It's not like healthcare. It's not like, and I'm like, but consumers are consumers, and consumers shop for everything in a very similar way. They do their research, they Google, word of mouth, they click on an ad. Like, the way you drive demand is consistent because consumers are no longer siloed. Like, the way you shop for a pair of jeans is similar to the way you shop for a vacation. But it's just like, you need to understand the nuances. But consumers like to have information and they like to make educated decisions. Sometimes it's emotional. They fall in love with brands and they're loyal to brands. But that comes at the end of all these other little steps that you do to drive great sentiment. And to your point earlier, like, I faced it. I'm patient. I'm patient. I don't need to.
I feel you.
You want to go into a new role and you want to have some quick wins. You do that because that's strategically important to kind of, settle your nerves and settle their nerves. Because listen, it's a new marriage. We want to make sure we like each other beyond the dating. But then you let the results, kind of validate the belief that you had, and you sit back and you let the results show kind of what you were saying is true. And for me, in that particular situation, without naming the brand, full year revenue the guidance was X, but we showed like 6.8% growth over year, which was like, they were not expecting that. And there's a lot of reasons why, but definitely because we drove demand, definitely because like our revenue for just like Q3 of that year was 7% up year over year. And that's huge for just a quarter. I mean, I think in general, like, you have to be patient, let the results, you can't take too long. You can't be 5 years. You have to show some immediacy when you first start, and then give yourself a little grace to let the results tell the story, let the results tell who you are, and then walk into your excellence. I always tell students, mentees coming behind me, like, once you've proven it, don't be afraid. Like, we feel like we still need to keep proving. You've proven it. Now, like, release your mind so that you can then be elevated to do more excellent work. Don't feel like you have to keep grinding in the same way. You will have to keep grinding, but not in the same way. It evolves. Now you're more strategic. And Jared, have you ever been in a place where you were starving? You would eat anything.
Absolutely.
But when you're full, you're more discerning. So you want to get to that fullness of yourself. So now you're more discerning with like the things you say, how you say them, what you pick to choose for the corporate brand. That to me is like the most important place of feeling like, okay, now you don't need to act like you don't belong there. You belong there.
You belong there. But I could imagine, like, so we at that, if you're talking about the same brand, we don't have to mention the brand, but I copped a couple of pairs in the last 3 years. You know what I'm saying? I ain't copped that in 2016. I'm just going to say that. I'm just going to say that. But Like what is the metric that they hold you to for success in that role? Because we're talking about growth from 7-8%, right, year over year. How's the attribution work to show that my marketing efforts actually attributed to this 8-7% growth?
I mean, I think just to back up, like the entire year, there was a 27% growth year over year. So I was first just talking about quarters. 27% is insane. And so obviously there's a lot of different components. I can't say it was just the marketing, but when you look at things like brand health, brand awareness, unaided awareness, like people, we measure that stuff on a quarterly basis. We measure it after every campaign. Those metrics are indicators into what you're seeing on the revenue side, right? So we first start with making sure we're embedding certain tactics like UTMs in our digital ads tracking. I don't get so specific, but you do certain things so that I need to do them because I like to have a roadmap. Like, okay, that's not working. We need to change that message, or that channel's not working well for us. We need to overinvest in maybe TikTok or something like that. So you do that in real time to make sure that you have a guiding principle. And then, this is another thing. I think a lot of people walk into industries and they let the metrics be told to them. And listen, there's business metrics and then there's marketing metrics, and they intersect at certain times. But I'm the marketer right now. I'm a president. So now I have to do both. But at that time, I know what the marketing metrics mean for business. So I'm going to tell you what we're tracking, and then I'm going to show you how that is an indicator to what we are seeing on the business side. So when we see a certain SKU elevated, moving more quickly, I can pull back and say, well, we did these four things. And we also had a halo brand. Now people are just not shopping for a product. They're shopping the brand. So now we see our shopping cart maybe increase. Some of them are not always like, did we convert on the first touch? It's like, okay, over the last 6 months, we're seeing an increase in our shopping cart. The actual people are moving from buying 1, to your point, 1 to 3.
Yeah.
That's what we want, because now that makes that consumer more loyal. And now when I talk to them through, email marketing or CRM, they have a relationship with us, and I can say, this is for you. It's, again, shopping is the same regardless of the category. And the KPIs we use are making sure we're rooted really in how are we driving demand, loyalty, and again, customer sentiment over time. And then we saw you're going to always get that immediate rush when people are like, wow, they're doing something new.
Different. Yeah.
True test of any healthy brand is how what we call LTV, lifetime value. How long are they staying loyal to your brand? How many times are they purchasing? What does repeat purchase look like? And then how much, we call it a CAC, so cost per acquisition. How much does it cost to get them? That should be going down over time. And how long are they with us should be going up. So I want like a 4-to-1 long time value versus CAC. I want to pay for you once, and then I want to keep you there. You know what I mean? And so I'm telling the business, this is what we're tracking. I'm not going to let people who are not marketers tell me what I should be tracking.
That's hard not to do still, though, especially when you're in a global role like that with a brand like that. It's hard to not to stand on business and be like, this, I know my stuff. This is what we're going to do. They'd be like, hey, Joy, but I need you to do this.
Yeah.
Like, that
is so true. It happens all the time. They're like, I need you to do this. And part of our role is to educate internally. Part of our role is to, and that looks different in different places. For me, in certain situations, I brought in other experts because I can't be the one just telling you. So I brought in experts from different media channels to educate the whole, not just like, hey, now it's too pointed if I'm like, I'm just going to bring this person to talk to you. So you bring it to educate the whole. And that then people at the end of the day really love to learn. Like most people in business, there's that 1% that thinks they know it all, but most people want to learn new things and they want to see you succeed. At the end of the day, I think the core nature of everyone in business, they want to win. Like now some people want to be the person that makes us win. And then that's a very dangerous ego-driven person. But at the end of the day, they didn't hire you for you to fail because they want you to win. Yeah. So because they want to win ultimately. So you have to sometimes take, again, I think we talked about this before we got on. My dad taught me to remove ego and remove emotion. What is the actual cause of this friction or tension? This person doesn't believe in the function that I have. So I have to educate them. Yeah. And I don't have a problem doing that. for a period of time. If I see like I'm not going to ever break through, then it's not a good cultural fit, because I'm not going to consistently be defending myself or defending my budget or it's not a good culture fit for me. I need to be in that place where I'm not hungry, right? I need to be in that place where I'm full so that I can give you my best effort. If I'm constantly like looking over my shoulders, like what's coming next? How do I have to explain this? Blah, blah, blah. Then I'm in a reactionary mode and I can't think. I can't think. And if I can't think, then I can't give you my best effort. And I also don't feel good. That's a stage in my life. I want to feel good.
Oh, but just coming in, we don't have that luxury though, right? Like sometimes, especially when we're coming in early, and depending on what the brand is, we're gonna just take it because of that brand, because we know this brand is gonna progress.
Or the role, or the pay. Yep. Like I took so many roles early in my career because listen, I don't come from wealth. My parents didn't have. They were. I was like, I'm moving to New York. My mom and dad were like, okay, well, here is $200. Good luck. Well, thank you. That will buy me a subway token or subway pass for, I guess now they don't even have them anymore, but back in the day for 2 months, that would buy me. You get to work for 2 months, the first 2 months. And I didn't have the luxury. I didn't have the benefit of the doubt. I didn't see anyone like me in the first couple of places I worked. I was not given I'll be 49 this year. So I'm pre-Google, pre-ChatGPT, pre all these things. It was very clicky. I'm so excited with different mentorship groups that exist. All I had was the 4A's mate program, and we're all learning. So I didn't have people that I could talk to, say, I don't know how they're asking me to do X. I don't know how to do that. And there was not a lot of welcomingness, if that's a word, when I first started. So all the girls that were, a year into their career, a year older than me, and I'm coming in now as like the coordinator or the assistant or whatever, they weren't going to show me how to do it. They weren't. And I really struggled at the beginning because I was like, is this for me? Because I'm not an idiot. Like I had these amazing internships, amazing letter of recommendations. I graduated with honors. Why? Like the first couple years in the industry, I was like, what is going on? I'm working 20 hours a day. People talk to you like you're crap. Like it was wild. I was like, is this really what I want to do? Because I don't think this is what I was making nothing. I was like, I was wealthier in college than my first couple years out of college. Like paying taxes, and my taxes are eating up half of it was a struggle. Like, it was really tough. And I think what happens is I released the control and then things start coming. Like I'm very, very, I'm a believer. So I'm very, very much into like, this is not about me, honestly. This is about a legacy bigger than me that's being built through me. So I got to release control and see what's going to come. And that's when mentors start coming. That's when McGee, who was the previous owner of Burrell, I worked in an agency with, we were part of the IAT together. And she saw me and she was like, let me talk to you. And then, then I met Carol, and then I met different people throughout my career. We're like, okay, let me tell you what's actually happening, which I agree is not, everyone doesn't have that luxury. I was very blessed in that way, but that's why I am intentionally giving back always. Like I see people and I'm like, let me help you. Let me get you in. Like, this is where I think you need to be on this account. When I was on the agency side, let me make sure you have this. Let me hook you up with this mentor. You got to give back in a way that's intentional, not just having like combos. You got to make space. You got to say people's names in rooms when they're not in it. Like I have no problem. I'm not afraid. I was a little bit, not afraid, but I was a little bit shy when I would go into a new role and I'd look across my team and I wouldn't see any sisters or brothers. And I'd be like, I have 4 new roles. And I would literally go to HR and be like, can I see the resumes? None of these people are people of color. So I need you to take more time to go find them because they exist. And I used to be timid to say that, but now I'm like, no, you need to do that because I need a diverse team. I need diverse thoughts. I need diverse opinions. This is a monolithic group. I'm going to get the same thing from them.
Message. You talk about it.
And so now, like, I feel like as you can do that at every stage of your life. If you're a coordinator or advertising like manager or even director, you can choose interns of color. You can do that. Because at the end of the day, it's your choice. Like the most senior person isn't looking at that. And every stage you can use, partner advertising creators of color. Like you can do that. And it's important for you to do that because they will work hard for you when they see you there and they will look out for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And then a lot of us just getting our shot. I know when I got my first shot I came straight off the street. I ain't gonna lie to you, Joe. I came straight off the block. I was rough around the edges, braids down my back and shit. I'm dressing like I'm in Catholic school, baggy powders and shit. I don't know what to do. I don't know the small talk.
Yeah.
I went in there and was like, yo, I'm gonna be the top seller 6 months. I'm from Jared Thomas from the Bronx, went to Evander Childs, Gun Hill Road. I'm gonna be the top seller. Because it's either this or nothing.
Yeah.
I'm not going back. I just have my son. I'm not going back. I'm going to outwork y'all. And that's the mindset a lot of us have. We just need the chance.
That's a different,
the chance.
Yeah. It's a different, like we talked about this a little bit. And I think I had an amazing boss at EHE, my CEO, David Levy, shout out to him. He saw me. I started at EHE as a VP of marketing and I left as chief revenue officer, right? He saw me early on and I remember one day he came in as like our second CEO. So I lived through a CEO and I was just like, whatever, dude. And he came in and he made all the executives and leaders kind of write their job description, which I thought, okay, what is this exercise? And I wrote it kind of half-assed. And I remember he came into my office and he was like, do you want to work here? Do you want this job? And I was like, what? He was like, do you want this job? Because what you just gave me, I can get that generically off the street. I'm asking you to design the role you want so that you can go get it here. I was like, oh, give me 24 hours. I'll come back to you. Because I was like, that is a different way of thinking about it. Not just some generic job description, but what is it that I want to do? And I worked with him over 6 years, building my financial acumen, understanding how to deal with investors. It was a private equity PE-backed company. So understanding what's important to them and how to translate what I'm doing that's important to me so that it can be important to them. And it's very rare to get someone he was much more seasoned and tenured in his career. So he was very low ego in that way. He didn't need the praise. He put his executive team out front a lot, but that is a lot of responsibility because we, need to show up. But in that scenario, in that situation, I realized that's the person who said to me, this is not just a job. He said it to actually my colleagues because they were like, we don't really, I don't know if we want to get into this, but I was, again, the only Black person, the only person of color, and the only woman. And they're like, we don't really understand how it is to work with Joy. Like, she's so like hard and firm and difficult and and like she asks us questions, like, the
typical
everything that they are doing, but I'm doing it and it's a problem. And he said to them, I remember being in a meeting, he was like, this is life or death for her. Like, she's not going backwards. Like, you guys are going to retire and play golf all year. She's building for her family. So it's personal for her. When you mess up something, when you don't do your part of the entire puzzle, and now she has to go make good for it, you're messing with her family. You're messing with her money. You're messing with her bag. And I was like, look at you looking at all the movies I told you to watch. But he broke it down for me in front of them. I was like, that is why I'm very emotional. It is personal to me because this is how I feed my family. This is how we build for the future. This is how my daughter is going to not have to struggle so much because she's going to have a head start that I didn't have. And when you don't do your part and you just laugh it off like, oh, well, it is emotional for me because I'm like, we got to fix it.
We have to.
And so you're right. Like,
that's
we
deep.
come in with a different mentality. That's why we're more loyal. That's why we come in not just with a hunger, but with our mind always working, like how to get there. How do we make it happen for everyone? Not just for us, for everyone.
I'm curious. I got to ask you now too, because that's such a, I could tell that was a moment that defined you, or not defined you, but that was a moment that was like eye-opening.
Pivotal for sure.
Yeah, it was a pivotal moment where it was like, yo, this is how I move from now on. If he believes, this is how I'm moving, and this is that.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, when you stepped into, your growth and your leadership, what is one story you don't mind sharing of somebody that looks like Joy that you've helped and you've seen them climb?
Well, she's still climbing, I will say right now, but she, when I was at Havas, there was a young woman so Havas is a conglomerate of different companies and
different agencies,
different pieces. And she was in more of a strategic brand building role. And I don't want to embarrass her, so I'm not going to say her name, but she reached out to me. Like I was working, we were not in the Havas offices, and there's like 7 levels or 8 levels. And she found me within the first 2 weeks of me being there, like came and just like walked into my office and was like, hi, I'm blah, blah, blah. I'm so excited to see you here. I'd love to like have lunch with you when you have time. And I was like, she's way ahead of me, man, because I would never have done that.
Couldn't do it. Yeah.
So I was like, of course, sure, whenever you want. And then she followed up and we did it a couple of times. And then it started to be less about like, let me be a mentor to you and like tell you things. Let me now invite when we have to do an IAT for a pitch or for an opportunity with an existing client. I'm like, can she represent your team? Because I could tell I never saw her name on things, right? I never saw her name on documents when we were like, I'm like, can you put her on this? This would be perfect for her as a learning experience, or this would be perfect for her because you know that she did this, X, Y, and Z. And I think I saw in her too when I first started talking to her, like she's not getting the opportunities to shine because they're just like, okay, we made this hire, we're going to leave her there and she can just, whatever. And that happens a lot to us. Like we checked, we made a hire, but we're not going to really foster or nurture. We're going to let her do these things that are, I don't want to name organizations, but we'll sign her up for this and sign her up for that because it's endemic to who she is. But we're not going to sign her up for these things over here or give her these opportunities with different clients. And I was just like, I'm in the position to request who I want. I want her on the team. And now I've left and I see her. She's still there. She's like getting promotions. Her voice is elevated. She's shining. She's like in that director level. In a couple of years, we'll be seeing her name everywhere because she is just so smart. She's so precise. She triple checks to make sure that what she's quoting is correct, but she sees it before they see it. And that you can't teach.
Yeah, absolutely. Devil's in the details.
Yeah.
In the details. So I ain't gonna you have to make the intro. She's gonna come on. I'm gonna get her on too. You're gonna make an intro.
She's great. Yeah.
I do want to ask you like a marketing question and kind of what you're doing now. But before we get there, like what is something, when you look at your career, what is something that you look at and say, this is one of my accomplishments? What is one of the things that you would hang your hat on that you're really proud about when it comes to your career?
Yeah. I mean, it's not something that's so like brand focused. Honestly, it's more to deal with human beings and human connection. So I worked at EHE Health during COVID. And so it was a healthcare company during COVID. And COVID was very scary for New Yorkers. And I'm very, very proud that, I'm going to give you 2 sides of the story. One is like the human piece. We had to make some really tough decisions, like everyone, around furloughing, laying off, whatever. And I didn't realize it until we were in those conversations deeply, how much I knew about my team personally. And so when you're making these decisions around who do we lay off, who do we furlough, we were in a situation too, because we make our money. The company makes their money. We're a system of clinics. So clinics were shut down for a period of time.
Oh.
If you weren't coming into our clinic, we don't make money. So we were like, we have a good runway from a cash flow perspective, but we need to be judicious and be very we don't know how remember, these are early day of COVID. So we don't know how long it's going to be. Yeah. So we were making these decisions. And I remember saying, well, if we're going to, I will give our CEO credit. He was like, to give us longer runway, can the C-suite take half of their pay? And we all were like, sure. And, for me, I was like, sure, but y'all on average average, you're 15 years older than me. So y'all have you don't have children.
You got some more runway, bro. My runway.
I'll take one for the team for sure. But then we were like, can our employees take 5 or 10%? And some of them, like, that was more than that cut was deeper than if we furloughed them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, if we're going to do that, and I was like, I can't make this decision in 24 hours. I need like 72 hours to look through my team. I know their stories. I know this person is taking care of their mother and their mother. Like, I can't ask them to come to work every day and be exhausted and scared and then take 5% of their pay. I'm going to furlough them because they'll get more, they'll take home more. And their job will be saved. And so that was a defining moment for me, because I was like, you can do this job with integrity and humanity. And it took longer to, first of all, figure that out. And then it took longer to tell people, because I was like, we're not doing a mass whatever. We had individual conversations, and I had to, when you have a person on the call with an HR person and they're like freaked out, and I'm like, no, I'm going to explain to you why I'm doing it this way. Your job is safe. You'll come back when we open, but you're going to take home more. And they're like, oh, and you can see their shoulders go down, versus just being like, they got to figure it out. Or like, they're wondering like, was it my performance? Am I going to come back? I'm like, no, this is what's happening. And again, that takes longer, but that's what good leaders do. They take the time to make sure people understand. And then on the business side, I was just so impressed with our team, but it was a lot of conversations. We built it. EHE is a 126-year-old brand. They had really trusted the fundamentals of the business that they built over time. But in that kind of 12-month period, we built 5, 6, 7 new products like that. Crazy. And so we learned that we had greater agility than we ever knew.
Yeah.
And we built products that were good for humans. And so it was like, I really blossom during that time, which I know it's hard to say because it was such a dark period for the whole world. But it was like I was working so hard, but was so fulfilled because we were building, a COVID tracker. We built so many things.
It's something you believed. It was something that you were proud about.
Yeah. And it's not like, it's not the biggest branded name of what I've worked on. You read my, kind of resume. It's not L'Oreal. It's not Saucony. It's not like one of those big, huge brands that everyone knows, but it's kind of that silent brand that does so much good for people and helped me during COVID to really walk into like my strength as a leader, to be like, okay, because there's no playbook for that. We didn't know what to do during COVID. So I was like, okay, you can still be a human and be a good leader.
That's real. You messed me up to the Saucony. I'm like, damn, I'm saying Saucony. Okay. I'm saying it the hood way. I'm saying it the hood way for all these years.
When I first started there, I played for the executives. I was like, they were like, why do people say Saucony? I'm like, because in the 80s and 90s, all the rap songs said Saucony. Here's a little compilation that our friends made for us at one of our radio partners. And literally it was like 15 songs, Saucony. I grew up with Saucony. Like my dad, who was a runner, who knew how to say Saucony, says Saucony. Yeah.
So, but what was that? What was it like when you stepped into that role? Because at that point, it's hard not to be like, him with the mom. I'm stomping with the big dogs. Like, how do you stay grounded?
It definitely was exciting. It definitely felt like a really good point in the trajectory, right? Like I have a ultimate goal of what I want to do and where I want to be, and I definitely felt like it's a global role, which is what I had not had at that moment. I had a very national leadership role. I mean, Havas was global, but I was the U.S. team, North American team.
Yeah.
And I think I will say a part of me was like, I didn't recognize the enormous impact that I could have in that role until I really walked into it and really started to talk to people and really started to see the relationship people had with the brand across different socioeconomic backgrounds, races, relationships with running, some runners, not runners. I really walked into the brand because I grew up with Saucony because I was a swimmer, so my conditioning shoe was Saucony. So I grew up with a very runner. Their core demo consumer. But then I met Jay Tips, and then I started to like go to more lifestyle events. And then I really get friends in the industry that, we talked about earlier, I grew up with, who were, sneakerheads, and they worked at certain brands, media brands, that were like, you don't understand. And I educated myself on it. Like I really sat, and a really good friend of mine, shout out to Michael Tresvett, he was like, let me walk you through the history of Saucony within sneaker culture. And he brought in all these experts. And that's what we need sometimes. You walk in and you have a mindset, but then you need to educate yourself. And so he really walked me into like the subculture of sneaker culture, how it's evolved over time, how it's moved from Nike to Adidas to Puma to all of it, where Saucony sat over the last 50 years. And then today, like the subcultures that are not monolithic, how you can have, kids in LA who love Saucony, and they look very different than the kids in New York, and how the brand feels to all of them very similar, but the expression of it is very different. And that really was like, okay, I was like, oh, okay, great. Now I kind of have an idea of like who I need. And that's when we started really hiring and working with creators on the marketing media side that could reflect back to the audience who they are. And that Run as One campaign really was birthed out of a really strategic insight that's rooted in loneliness, which if you think about, community is a solve for loneliness. And so when you think about the running community, and then you think about the lifestyle community, it all has a common thread, which is I want to be with people who make me feel good, who reflect back to me who I am and who I can see myself in. That's a universal truth.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so when I felt like when I walked into the role, I didn't really understand the enormity of it, but quickly, because of great friends in the industry, I was like, this is bigger than me. This is about creating a legacy brand that has always been kind of like, if you know, but is ready to blow up, it's the moment for it to do that.
That's just fire. I could have, I got to ask you now personally, if you don't mind, like what is one thing that you do to celebrate when you got back?
I mean, I'm a girl, Jared, so of course I buy some jewelry.
You roll some thing, came in with the bling.
I'm like, okay, no, I really do. Like, I have a really great group of colleagues, women. I'm a part of this group called Chief, and
shout out to Chief. Yep.
I think that like it's really important to have women who know you. I've been with the same core group for almost 7 years maybe. So they know me. And so, I think it's important that you ask, what do you do to celebrate? Because a lot of us, we don't take that moment to celebrate. We just keep going. And they forced me to like really sit in the experience, and then the contribution I was making to the success of the brand. And then of course I was like, I deserve a new piece of jewelry. So I went and bought myself
vacation or something. Yeah. But you nailed it. Like, us celebrate. I'm gonna keep it all the way real with you, sis. Like I still got shit I haven't celebrated.
You have to celebrate it.
It's always that. Even when I try to celebrate, I might get a little sip or something. We might chill. Me and wifey go out. But then after that, it's like I gotta. How we gonna top that? How we gonna top that? I gotta do it. Like, we've had Matthew Knowles on the show twice.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn,
that's
that's literally my guy. Like, you know what I'm saying? I can't, it's 30 notes and those type of things. But it's like, I can't sit here and celebrate. I gotta keep going. It's a big.
You can't wallow in the celebration, right? That's the difference. Like, you can't. You can't. You need to celebrate it. Look at all the people like us who have made it. What do? They celebrate, they rest, they take time, they vacation, they enjoy a good meal. They like, I hate to use these examples, but like, look at Steve Harvey, look at the Obamas, look at Oprah. Like, they celebrate in their own way. They worked really hard, but they constantly talk about, you need to take a moment to look at it. Like you said, give yourself the flowers while you can still smell them.
Yeah, you have to. It's easier said than done. I'm still struggling with it. I'm keeping it all the way real with you.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna celebrate after this episode. I'm like, oh shit, I just had joy. I gotta go pick up the kid. I gotta do this.
Oh yeah, we still gotta do the things. We're still the parents. We're the glue of the family. So we still gotta do it. But like you said, take a moment with your wife. Go for a walk. Go for a walk and have a nice glass of whatever. just the two of you. Remember what that's like, before all of this. I think that's so important. I wish that, everyone had someone that they could go to who can remind them of where they came from.
That's real.
Because it's so important to celebrate the journey while you're in it. Because it's motivation to keep doing it.
Message.
Absolutely. As a message. I know we coming up too soon. So, but tell us about what you're doing now, though. Like, tell us about why you chose the role that you are now. You're at President. Much different from CRO, much different from global CMO. Like, how are you approaching it? How's it been so far?
Yeah, I think first of all, I think I share with you. We had my mother passed away in October, and for me, that was like a significant thing. My parents have been married for over 50 years. They've been together forever, and so I think you like when those things happen, you pause a little bit. You're like, wait, what's going on? And she was very ill. So she was in hospice for about 6 weeks, home hospice. And so I got to spend those last weeks with her, which was very significant to me. And it reminded me, like, I worked at Kindbody, as you mentioned earlier. And when I was at EHE Health, I loved female health. I loved women's health. And I got really deep into it. From both an advocacy around equity and pay, healthcare, all of it. And if you know anything about me, like, I'm a huge voice around equity for women across the board. And it's hard though when you're doing, to your point, like, it's hard when you're playing those politics, honestly. And I'm not a political person. So it was really difficult toward the end of that kind of initial tenure. And that's why I kind of went back to corporate and was like, I need to just like not be so emotionally attached, but it's my passion. And I realized that 100% when I was talking to my mom and she was sharing with me her thoughts around things that she wished she should have, could have, would have done. And I realized, like, I don't want to, at the end of my life, I don't want to be in the shoulda, coulda, woulda regret area. And again, I truly believe, as a believer, if you set your intention and you say, I'm open to receive whatever it is, the things will come. And so anyway, that's how I got to Vella. I love it. It's a beautiful company that started with just one intent, which is to provide information to women so they have greater agency over their bodies as they age, as they go through perimenopause and menopause. We now are opening up the aperture to be more about hormonal shifts from menstruation to menopause. And more than the products we sell, it's really like the education and the empowerment that we're giving young girls to older women. Our products serve consumers from, teenage to in their 70s. That's a very rare product to have. You usually don't have that large span, but it allows me to think about it as the president of the company. What's important to those different decades? We have an amazing doctor on our scientific advisory board, and I was talking to him the other day, and he said, we think of aging as a decline, and if we think of aging as an evolution, we can see the beauty in every decade. That's my hope for women.
That's
deep, right? When he said
that was deep word.
I was like, that is very true. He goes, it's mindfulness, it's physical, it's spiritual. He goes, but if you can really think about it as an evolution versus a decline, then you see the beauty in every single decade. And that is my hope for women, because we unfortunately have been told that at 50, some of us can't work. We can't get back. If we take time off, we can't come back. There's a cap, an unseen cap that they put on women that make us think that, oh, you can't be a leader if you are postmenopausal, like you've lost it. And it's like, no. And so beyond just like the products are fantastic, like the customer reviews are insane. So there's an amazing amount of time that has been there was an amazing amount of time that was given to the formulation of the product. It's science-led. That caused me to go to this brand, because in this space, there's a lot of brands that put different things first, celebrity, marketing. And that's hard for me to say as a core marketer, but I believe in the products. I know that they work. The efficacy rate is so high, but beyond that, the mission of the company to really provide great education, to provide tools, to provide platforms for women across the different life stages caused me to say, okay, I want to go and build this company with the CEO, with the co-founders. I want to make sure that Vella is the authoritative voice in the space, And I want for the next 5 years for us to grow exponentially so that people are served well, not just for us to make money, which will happen. It's a byproduct, but that we serve women well. And hopefully that has tentacles in how how women athletes are treated, how there's more education around, you know, what they need so that there's more equity in how they are served. And then hopefully that leads to greater pay equity. Like it's a bigger mission. We still make, you know, Black women 77 cents to the dollar of a man. And, you know, we still are, there's not a lot of us in boardrooms. And if we're on the court, like we're still being told like, oh, well, you're not as important as the male sport.
Yeah, that's real.
I'm like, yo, women, everybody watches women's sports. Everybody. I have a scholar athlete in my household. She's an amazing volleyball player. If you watch a women professional volleyball team, you'll be like, this is more interesting than some of the basketball teams I've been watching because it's so intense. These women are they're like average 6'3", 6'4". They are amazing and they deserve to be paid. They deserve to have health care. They deserve to have a future. And that's, to me, like that's the underpinning of the Vella story.
That's fine. I could just tell by your passion that it's going to happen. Like, you know what I'm saying? I can tell that you mean it. You're not just saying like you didn't just read something off the card, PR getting spotted to you underneath the table.
Yeah. To me, like that's the best thing my mom gave me, which is to remember my passion and to remember my mission.
There it goes. That's so real. And I told you a little bit off camera, like I just recently dealt with a passing away. So my condolences to you and your family. I could only imagine how you felt. I still have my mom. I couldn't even imagine. I would be distraught. And the way you know, the way you're carrying yourself right now, I would love, could you give some advice to my cousins who lost their mom? You know, my like, because I see my cousin going through it. I ain't gonna hold you. Like
100%. And you know, I don't know, everybody's relationship with their mother's different. And I think particularly mothers and daughters have a very interesting relationship all the time.
Absolutely.
Even if it's the best of best relationships, it's a different relationship than one has with their dad. All I would say to your cousin is, number one, my sincere condolences, because it's really hard losing a parent. I think number two, try to remember like the love that your mom had for you. No one's perfect, but our mothers love us. And try to remember what she hoped for you, right? Like for me, like the way I can honor my mom is to live the dreams that she had for me, to be fearless in my pursuit of my passion and my purpose. And so I would tell your cousin, like, take the moment you need to grieve, because I do think that's important. And I feel blessed that I had the moment to kind of grieve at the same time while she was declining, because I could work through and say the things, we could have the conversations so that there was nothing left unsaid. But if you need time to grieve, give yourself grace to do that. But understand that grief is continuous. Is a continual journey. Everyone's saying it to me, and it's true. There's moments I wake up. This morning I woke up and I could hear her voice. And that, I think, instead of thinking of that as a moment to get really sad, I was like, this is a blessing that I can still hear her voice, that she's so close. So try to think of those moments that, you know, try to think of the moments that you had with her that are precious. Also think about the future of what she would want you to do and what you to be, and her hopes for you. And if you have children, the blessing is that I see her in my daughter. Like I see certain mannerisms that my daughter has, who she didn't see that from my mom. So that definitely is like, the genes are strong, and like kind of celebrate those moments.
That's fine. You about to make me cry now. I'm sitting, I'm gonna tear my screen foggy and shit.
That, I love it. You have high EQ, Jarrett. You're very fan.
We gotta do one of these. So before we go to, sis, like this is man, this was such a dope conversation, dope interview. Tell the people what's the mountaintop look like, and I do want to know about the dynamic of you and your daughter. Like, what are some things that you know you're really proud of, and like, does she understand where you are corporate? Like, what's the real conversations you have
with my daughter?
Yes.
I mean, again, COVID's a blessing because she was homeschooling, and so she heard me talking. She learned a lot during that year. She One time she said to me, she goes, "Are you in charge of the people on that call?" I go, "What call?" She goes, "The call you were just on. Are you in charge of them?" I go, "Why?" She goes, "Because you talked so much. And when you're on the call with Mr. Levy, you don't talk that much." And I was like, "Oh, okay."
You picked up. I like it. I like it.
So I want to be a better listener as a leader. But she's 11 now. She definitely knows what I do. She has always, I only have the one. So I've always been like, let me take her with me early in her when she was a baby. I would travel with her. Like before she started school, she would sit in conference rooms with me in meetings. Like I love that COVID happened because I think it forced everyone to be like, these people that work with you are parents and husbands and wives.
Yeah, put stories to people. Yep, for sure.
Yep, put stories to people is a great way of saying it. I was lucky that I didn't even know that I should be taking her to meetings. And I would just be like, yeah, my kid, it has to come with me right now because, I need to do, this is what it has to happen. And so she's been with me on marathon courses. She's been with me in boardrooms. Now, obviously, she has her own little life and she's like doing her things. But if we were doing this call at 3:00, you'd see her walk in. She's very curious about like, how does business work? She has recently said like, she wants to be a chef. She's like, I'm in my head like, okay, you want to be a chef? Do you want to have a couple restaurants? You want a license? And she's like, Mom, I just want to be a chef. I want to be an artist around food. And I was like, okay. She's like, I don't want to do all the things that I see you doing all the time. She goes, that's a lot of work. And I was like, okay. So I'm like, she knows what I do. She appreciates it. I think it's great it's a huge blessing when your children, when you're on vacation or whatever, and you're relaxing. Cause I do have certain boundaries. Like I don't, we eat dinner tonight. We eat dinner 4 nights a week. Well, really 5, but 5 nights a week together. So like that period of time, I'm unavailable. When I'm on vacation, listen, I'm always going to be checking emails or such, but I'm present on vacation or present with her on the weekends. But it's great when your children say, Mommy, I know that you work so hard that we can have this type of life, this type of vacation, this type of whatever. And that fills my soul. Like it recognizes like, my mom works. And there's a saying like when children see their parents, particularly their mothers, but parents in general, juggling home, work, family, being like a parent to their parents, it actually teaches them resilience. It teaches them a way in which they can say, okay, I can do it too. It's important for us not to hide it from our children. They need to see it.
That's so right. My mom remind me of my mom. She was working 2 jobs too. She was trying to get a master's degree, becoming a assistant principal, coming back home, cooking dinner, checking homework, going to the parent teacher, coming to the basketball game that's on the other side of town.
Like everyone is always shocked. They're like, you guys eat dinner, you must have a chef or something. I'm like, no, I make the dinner. Like the other night I made gumbo for my dad. I was like, Daddy, I know that you are not in your normal space. So I make, he's Jamaican. I made some gumbo. People always like, I'm so shocked you can cook. I'm like, how do you think my daughter who's 5'10" and 11, how does she get that tall? Like, and healthy? I made the food for her. But I do think it's like you said, it's like you see your mom doing all of it and she still cooks and she still makes sure the home feels like the house feels like a home, and she's at the games and she's cheering you on. And, that's what we do this season. We do that through this season.
That shit is real. I'm gonna try for the audience. I'm gonna try a gumbo. I'm gonna let you know if it's
whenever you want to.
Invite me and wifey over one day.
Yeah, I froze some, so we have a lot for a while.
I do want to say thank you, sis. Like, first of all, welcome, and I'm honored to say this. Welcome to the More Than a Title family, sis.
Thank you.
Honor. So episode 267, sis. Anybody before you that's come on the show, anybody after, you have complete access to. It doesn't matter who they are, what the name is, and that's my way of giving back to you, sis. Because this is no monetary exchange. This was just me wanting to celebrate you, wanting to meet you, being able to develop a relationship with you. And my way of giving back is helping you win however I can.
Thank you,
so
Jerry.
I just want to say thank you.
It's an honor. I'm very proud of you and what you've created. And I think 276 is a lot of episodes, man.
I'm talking my ass off.
I also want you to feel amazing because it's such a great, More Than a Title is such a great name and such a great platform and it's such a great purpose. So I'm honored to be guest 276.
You're the truth, man. And so please let the people know if anybody is listening. I know we're gonna get a lot of comments, a lot of DMs. People gonna be like, "Oh, Joy, so dope. How do I get in touch? How can somebody that want to support your journey? How can they reach out?
My Instagram is at Joy Altimare. You can find me there. You can always find me on LinkedIn. You can always find me. Like you said, this is like our season, so I'll be at a lot of conferences. You'll see us, but if you do see me, please come say hello and please say that you heard me on More Than a Title. I love that. And if you do DM me or message me, please say that too, because I think it's important to know how and when you heard. And then I love to tell Jarrett, like, look at these people that love your show.
I would love that as well. And I love you guys for supporting. Like you said, you guys make this community mean something to me. And like, it's these stories. I got one of the best jobs in the world.
Yeah.
I get to speak and learn from people like you. I get a Harvard degree every 2 days.
Oh, that's
so, you know what I'm trying to say? You're between your story, and it's all a reoccurring same thing when you think about leadership. We all been through the same thing, just in different ways, right? Yeah. And that insight that the audience and myself can glean from that, how we win. Like we're going to be in great spaces. I hope to see you soon, sis.
Me too.
Hope to see you soon. I don't know if you're going to be in Cannes. It looked like we may be in Cannes again this year.
I'll see you there.
We'll be in Inkwell Beach. I got a seat for you.
I will see you there.
I got you.
And they should have this year at Inkwell. They should have like leaders actually like cooking something. Like let's have like not during the day but at night. Like let's have like a cook off with some leaders and see, because all of us can actually really cook. I know some people that are great, and I want to taste their food too.
You know Adrian, right? You want me to make that?
Yeah.
Let's make the intro. I'll just be like, y'all spoke to Joy. Adrian, can we just tap in and make sure she had a great idea? Let's make it happen.
Make it happen. It'll be a nice way for us to again feel like coming home.
That's it. It already feels like that. And for people who are, just before we close off, y'all, if you have not been to Inkwell Beach, if you haven't been to Cannes, I've had a lot of professionals like, yo, Jared, that price tag is insane, bro. Like, is it worth it? Is it like, should I do it? Bet on yourself. I'm telling you, when you go to Inkwell Beach and when you get that space, it'll be, to give you quick context, it'll be Tubi, it'll be this, Google, YouTube, Microsoft, Pinterest, all these big brands, and huddled right in the middle of that is our space. Yeah. It's Inkwell Beach. It's where you could come down and get a plate. You could go get your little water, refreshments. You could get, and just network. Everybody's just chilling.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, that was a
space. You feel safe. It's the most relaxing part of the whole Le Creuset. It's like the most relaxing homecoming, actually.
And we'll be there. So if you want to pull up and rub shoulders with Joy, myself, and all the other successful people, be there. Show some love to Adrian, because if we don't support Inkwell Beach, it would not be there. Make sure you support any way you can. And y'all heard the story, y'all. You've seen what she's overcome. She was one of 3 Black girls in the stool, still overcame, right? You see what she went. She went through hell in these agencies early, right? Not making much money, but still figuring out, learning the process, understanding how important mentorship is, right? Got in the room with the right people, ask the right questions. And when you get a mentor, right, one thing that success respects is also success. They're not going to give you the information if they feel like you're not going to do anything with it. So when you get in that room, make sure you listen, right? Listen, take that information, go apply it. Even if it fails, they will look at that and they will see that. And this young lady has been around. She's built brands, been in some of the biggest rooms, right? Persevered through everything, just had a loss of family, and she's still showing up. And she's showing up with purpose and intention. And for that, we love you, sis. And thank you for being our guest for, on More Than Entitled today. And this was just dope.
Thank you, Jared. Have a good one.
You too, sis. Have a great week. I will talk to you soon. I'm going to hit you on the email. And matter of fact, thank you, Christina, for coordinating this.
Yeah,
Christina, we ain't forget about you, baby. But thank you again. I can't wait to meet you as well. We'll talk soon, all right? Welcome back to More Than Entitled. We'll see y'all.